Hi everyone, welcome to this video. My name is Vincent. I'll be taking you through a course on how to create an automated invoice or receipt in Excel 2016. Yes, moving on. This is our content for the entire course, not very lengthy. First, we would see how to style an Excel sheet. I'm sure you must have been able to use Excel. If not, just stay glued. We're going to cover some basic text input. And after that, we'll talk about calculating the totals, making our summations, and then we'll move on to generating the invoice or receipt ID, which is going to be automated. And we're going to look at how we can print and save our work using the functions and using the Visual Basic scripts. All the code you will need will be given in this course. You don't have to create any code yourself. You have everything here. And then after that, move on to adding the print pattern to our Excel cell. So at the end of this course, we should be able to create this. Alright, so at the end of this course, we'll be able to create an invoice that looks like this, whereby our totals are automatically generated, our ID is automatically generated, and the tax totals over here are automatically generated. The total cost is automatically generated as well. And right here, when you make a printout, currently our invoice ID or number is at 1. When we make a printout, after clicking on the print, we'll be asked to provide the amount of print out you want to make. Note it says here it prints 2 copies by default. So when I go for print 1, I'll go for OK. It's going to print out my invoice right now for me. So I'm going to save it right here and call it work. It's supposed to be printing out from my printer, but I'm going to use the PDF so you can see how our output looks like. So I'll save, and that printout is supposed to be a 2 copies printout. So that's basically going to print out twice. In your printer, you can change that in the code. You're going to see that as you start this course. So I'm going to call this work 1. And I'm going to save that. And of course, after those 2 has been printed, our invoice will try to save a soft copy for us by default with the data name. Okay, so and the name of the sheet as well. So I'm going to just save this right here. And that has been saved. I've been notified. So this is exactly what we'll go through in this course when you enroll. And let's get it opened up. That's our saved receipt. It's trying to open up right now. Okay guys, so here's our printed receipt. You realize that the ID automatically increased to 2, and that is nice. And we printed out from Excel, and every item is intact, and our receipt is perfect. So see you as you enroll for this course, just to learn this bit. Alright guys, so that is what we're going to learn, and I believe you enjoyed that preview. Now let's get started. See you in the first video. Bye. So I'm going to start at the first cell by putting the number. Okay, that's the row number or the item number. And here I would have the name of the item. And over here I'm going to have the description of the item. The quantity follows here. The unit price. The total cost of a specific item. Alright. So probably I want to have about 10 items I'm selling right now. So 1, 2. Alright, so that is fine for me. And for the first item is called item 1. Second item is called item 2. So over here, I'm going to highlight the 2 numbers and come over to the beneath right of my second cell where I have this plus sign symbol, then pull it down probably to the 11th row. The same thing here as well. So as for this, because of the first, we can actually highlight these two cells and then double click on this point to get it automated. And then here we have description, so I can do it with that for now, so I don't need it. So I'm going to right click on that column and just go ahead and delete that column because I don't want it. For the quantity, okay, for each, let's say these 4, just put some random numbers actually at the moment. Now, price for each item, probably item 1 is sold for 30. In terms of currency, you can use any of your choice. You know what you want more than I do. So 20, just making up some random numbers here. So 10, 6, and probably 50 over here. Okay, so the total cost to be automatically generated. So beneath the total cost, we want to have here, okay, let's change this. Let's change this total cost over here to total price. Okay, so it'll make more sense. So come over down here and make this total cost. And then down here, make this tax. Let's just use a 15% tax at the moment. This should rather be called total, just make it total, something like that. Okay, and then this should be called total cost. Alright, so here would have our total, our VAT, or the tax will be charged over here, and then here would have a grand total. Okay, so over here, just down here, I want to have a signed, and then beneath I'll have my name. That is the name of the whoever signed it. Okay, and this position, I want to have the client manager. Yours can be different. I'm just trying to give you a mockup or a template. So I'll put here Miss Queen, and down here I'm going to give this account number, because an invoice, so it should contain an account number. So we'll have something like this, number followers, and then over here we can have the, what else could we have? Can I have a telephone number? Basically, yeah, the telephone number, and then we'll have some random numbers there. It should contain telephone numbers. Alright, right now we've not added a date, so let's come over to the top and insert a new row there. Go to insert some couple of more. Okay, so right here I want to have client, the client name. Let's say we're dealing with the Big Bro Incorporated. And then just before the client, we can have here our date, and the date is a function we can use to get it. Let me quickly put that in. We can use the today function. Okay, we could format that later. And then over here, I want to have my invoice number, which will basically be placed in this cell. And then on top of that, I want to have my invoice boldly written. Before the invoice, I'm going to have basically an address or something. So we can say number 25. Okay, 234. That came by me just typing 234. Whatever number. Okay, so great road off no problem street. All right, so before that we're gonna have our invoice boldly written. Invoice. Invoice. Very good. Okay, so I'm going to have this bold. Okay, I'm going to use the Arial black for that. Okay, Arial black for that at the moment. And guys, I want to increase the spacing in this. Right now we're going to format the cell. Right on our home ribbon, we can go over to format, row height. Go ahead and use a 30. 30 will do. Okay, that's fine. 30. And then I'm going to use width, column width. We'll make that 25 to see what we got. That is way too much. So I'm going to go over back there to column width. Change it to, let's use 15 to see what we got. Alright, I think 15 is a bit cool for us. So right now I'm going to pull this all the way to the right and then click on merge and center, and that font should actually be in caps. Okay, alright, so I'm going to pull that up to 40. Okay, so make that and center one more time. Alright, now what can we do here? Because it's not showing, we can pull it down a little bit this way. Very good. Alright, and then just center it up. Very good. This as well can be centered, merge and centered actually. Okay, and we don't need it to be that toward. Alright guys, so looking at this closely, these two, in fact these whole cells, the column is way too, the row height is way too much, so let's just try and then reduce that from 30 all the way to 20. Yeah, 20 is fine. Okay, so now talking about our cells, what can we do to this? I'm going to highlight everything currently. Not everything per se, just right from this point where we have the telephone number. Okay, pull all the way to the date. Then we'll go to the alignment button right here. From there, we'll go over to alignment, and then we can use, we have horizontal general and then with vertical bottom. We can set vertical to center, and then we have here wrap text. Go for that. Okay, so we get something like this, guys, as you can see. Go back to the same location just to add some borders horizontally. Want to also center that and go for OK. Alright, so this is what we got nicely, guys. Okay, but my total, all of these, I want them to be right aligned nicely this way, emboldened. This should be left aligned nicely. So right now guys, I'm going to give this a background color or something like, yeah, like this would not be bad. And then my columns here should be given a color. That is if you want it anyway. You can skip all of these, but I'm going to go for, okay, so the number goes here. We're going to generate that automatically. We've generated this automatically. Let's change the date format here by going to format cells, and then for number, go for date. Let's go in for this format, which is quite cool. Yeah, that's fine. The name should be the company name. Okay, that's fine, should be center. Alright, So for these columns, they should be significant. So we should place some focus on them. So right here, we want to automatically generate the total price. So what do we get? Because if you're getting an item 1 with a quantity of 4 and the unit price for each item is 30, means 30 times 4. So what we can do is use the sum function, okay, with this cell. So we can click on the cell or write the cell number, which is C6. Okay, so I'm just going to tap on it with a multiplication, that is the asterisk, and then I tap on this to pick those two cells and I press enter. Alright, so it means this item that has been purchased give us what? 120 of the total price. So let me use a particular specific currency here, which is GHS, that is in Ghana cedis. Just use a GHS. Okay. Alright. So Ghana cedis, meaning we need 2 extra dots, actually zeros at the end. So what I can do is highlight on all of these columns here. Okay, my total should have it, so I'll use the control to select this as well, and select the total cost as well. Now right click on that and go for format. Going for format, I can go for my number and then use separators, yes, because it's gonna have thousands and all of that. Decimal places too. Yeah, that is basically what I want. So I'll go for OK. And I'm good to go. So right now, if I want to replicate this particular function that we have here to the bottom, all I need to do is just pull this cell from the right bottom all the way to the last item. And I have everything calculated for me nicely. Now the total needs to be the summation of this cell all the way down to what? This cell. So to do that, just use the same sum function. So bring your equal to sign. We're summing this cell, which is E6, all the way down to, then we'll bring in the E15. And then we can add that up. Okay. Oops, sorry. It's supposed to be a column. Because when you bring the comma or you bring the plus, you're actually just summing up the first and the last cell. But when you bring the column, it brings up the summation of everything for you. Now, our tax is supposed to be 15% off this, and the tax is supposed to be paid by the client, big bro. So what do? All we need to do is use the sum. The sum is very, very important here. So sum, 50% is 0.15 multiplied by the total. Alright, so when we drop that up, it's 63.60. That's what that means. Alright, so this needs to be added to the total. The tax needs to be added to the total to get the total cost of whatever the client is going to pay. So right now, get the total amount the individual is supposed to pay. We're just adding up the total and the tax to get what is going to pay. Alright guys, that's not all. Now, before we go ahead generating our invoice, I made a mistake here. Invoice. Before we go ahead generating our invoice, what if, because this particular format can also be used for receipt as well. So I want to give you a simple way here. What if the user gives us an amount of 500, let's say 500 Ghana cedis, and you needed to give him a change? You don't need to do that manually by calculating, no. All you need to do is just use this. So let's just put here, let's say amount given. Okay, and then over here we'll put here just change. So how do we get the amount? The amount given, you will need to input that. So the change will have to be equal to with the sum of whatever has been given in this cell, okay, with a subtraction of whatever has to be paid, which is the total cost, would amount to the change. So currently nothing has been given, that's why you have this amount here. So probably if we have 500 given, mean you need to give a change of what? Of 12.40. That's 12 cities 40 pesos basically. So I'm just going to center that nicely. Okay, this is not going to be part of our printout, it's just part of our Excel document, so don't be worried much about it showing up. So I'm going to put this in some colors. Oops. Yeah, that is too piercing, so okay, any problem? No problem. So that's cool. And what we can do is move on. So what else can we do here? Let's add some borders. I'll right click on it and go for format cells. Then I'll select my borders and give a tick border will do, right? Okay, I think this border is fine. So I'll put it in everything like that. Oh, so I get something like this. So when I go for print preview, I get something of this sort. This is what we got. So what we can do is on the normal margins, we can go for custom margins and then set it to horizontally center on page and go for OK. So it's going to be centered for us. So this is actually cool. So we can go over back. I'm going to remove all the borders I have here. It's not really making a good feel for me. So I'm going to highlight that, remove the top, this, I'm going to remove these as well, these as well, these as well, and go for OK. Alright, just to get something like this. Okay guys, so right now that we got automated, okay, and my totals and tax could also be given different colors altogether. But at this point in time, I'm going to remove these borders right here. Format the cell. Remove all of this. So you can get this. My font style I'm using as well could also be, I like to use the color like very good. Okay, so now guys, how do we automatically generate the receipt number? We need to use what we call the VBA. I already have the script generated for me, so I don't need to do much. So what I need to do here now is to use the Alt F11, which brings up my Microsoft Visual Basic for applications on my Excel. So I want to work with this particular script. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to use it. Now look at this carefully. I'm going to break this down. I have here my class being created. Okay, and this code, I'm going to make this code available for you. Alright, you don't need to edit it. It does everything we want to do. So how do you use it? I'm going to copy it out of here and close this. Okay, so just all you need to do is on the Visual Basic, just go for insert, and then you go for model. Then you can paste this code you're going to copy from my blog right there, and all you need to do is save it. But now that's not all. You need to make a little bit of change here. That is, this cell for a receipt, this cell needs to be worked with, this particular cell. Okay, so I made it A3. Let me check the cell. Okay, so this cell here is E4. Alright, just one difference. So let's just get back there. So E4 is the cell name, E4. Alright, so there's the code that is going to help us print our document. And then after printing, a file will be saved, okay, onto a folder you want it to be saved, just to keep a record of the invoice. Alright, and these two commands right here means the invoice will be printed 2 times. If you want it to be printed just once, then you can remove one of these particular command, that is active sheet print out. I'm going to make it print twice, and please, for the record, I'm using a PDF to print, not a printer, so I'm saving as a PDF. I'm printing to PDF. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So you can always use your printer. So right now, I'll go for save. Okay, it's working perfectly because I've saved this document as the XLSM macro, M for macro. That is why it's not giving me an error. If you save as just XLS, you're going to get some error message. So ensure you save as XLSM. Alright. Now guys, going back to document. Okay. To run that script so that this particular invoice will be printed out and a unique code will be generated, all we can do is go back to the macro and then you click on the play, or you press F5. When I go for play, you realize that it says automated invoice Excel by VTB. Note, it prints 2 copies by default, so enter 1 to start print. So I'm going to go for 1 and then go for OK. So it started printing my book 2, and it's going to ask me to save. The reason being that I have a lot of PDFs already I created, so let me just create a new folder called VTB. So I'll go into that folder. Alright, and then call this 1. Okay, it's coming here because I'm saving my print as a PDF. You're also supposed to go directly to the printer. Okay, so I'm going to go for save. So it's printing. Then it's going to print another copy of the same document. So I'll go for 2 just for this. Alright, in case you want to have a copy and then the client also have a copy, physical copy I mean. That is when you make it 2. Alright, so after it is done, it's going to try saving your invoice as a PDF file. Okay, this is a different scenario, so I'm going to look for my location. Alright, so it's going to save with the sheet name. As you can see, it's sheet 1. That is why it's using sheet 1. And then the current date and just a unique code generator. So I'm going to go for save. Alright, it tells me that this is exactly the path where my file is saved. I go for okay, no problem. And then let's check that out. So this is exactly where the files were stored. Okay, so these are supposed to be 2 printouts. So let's check it out. I'm going to double click on the first file and to get what you see what I got. It says invoice, the date, decline, the invoice number is 1. Alright, and then every information is on it as I requested. Total figure, everything generated for me. That's fine. But right now we don't want just 1. What do? If you don't want just 1, let's go over back to Excel to format that. Okay, you see it has updated our sheet to be 1. So I don't want this to happen. So I can right click on my cell, go for format cells. Then I go over to numbering. Under we have numbers, that's not what we want. We have custom, very good. So we want there to be multiple numbers before this particular character. So what we can do is to have this being created for us. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so I'm just going to add, I'm going to make it 4. It's going to be like this. So I'm going to go for OK. So it means our ID will be generated, invoice number will be generated this way. So the next printout will be 2, next will be 3, and so on and so forth. Alright guys, we don't want to go over to the macro before we are able to print out. We want to have a button here which helps us to what? To print out these specific invoice. So we should have the button somewhere here, though it won't show in our printer, so we are cool. So you go over to developer. If you can't find the developer menu, you go for file, and then you go over to options. On the options, you go over to custom ribbons. You just need to ensure you check on the developer right here because it's by default unchecked. So you ensure you check it and you go for OK so you can get the developer. So when you click on developer, okay, developer, then you go over to insert. We are going to insert ActiveX control. So click on the button right there because we've selected a cell already. So we'll put that in here. Right click on it. First of all, I'll go in for command object, edit, and then call that print. When you're done, you can hit outside. It's going to change. Now the next thing we'll do is right click on it and go for view code. When you go for view code, it comes over here to create a new sheet for you. That's a new document. So what I'm going to do here is paste in all my code right here. Control copy. That's Control C basically. Highlight all of this code and paste. I'm going to put the same thing in my file and ensure you download it and you use it. Then after that I'll go for save. Alright guys, after going for save, here it's asking us to save our workbook. I've not actually saved it, so I'll go for my Excel macro enabled work sheet and go for save to save that for me. Alright, so that has been saved nicely. So right now all I need to do is uncheck my design view and I'm good to go. Now click on the print, you realize what we've got. Okay, so let's print one more. Let's print just one because it's going to print one of this invoice twice. Alright, so let's go for OK. When you go for OK, it's going to start printing out on your printer, but mine, I'm using the PDF like I told you earlier. So go for 3, save. Alright, 4 for the next print out, save. And then now it wants to save my soft copy of the printout, because this particular sheet will be updated for the next invoice that will be created. So I'll go for OK. And there I got it. So after my printout, you realize I have it here. So let's check out the printout, which is 3. So when we go for 3, guys, you realize that we have our invoice with the number of 2 now. Okay, and everything is intact. So this is for this client, which is perfect. Today's date is automatically generated. So everything is generated. All the only manual information is the item names, the quantity, and the unit price. All of these will be automatically generated for you, including the total cost. And I'm sure your client manager and the account number and telephone will remain the same. The signed person will remain the same. That's just it. So every other thing will be generated for you, including the ID number, the cost, and to save a lot of time. Okay, so over here, let's try. That's basically it, guys. So I'm going to bring in an image in case you want to beautify your invoice. Let me use this. Alright, that's way too big. Let me reduce it. Put it right here. Okay. And then what else? I can change it. So I have the quantity of this item 2 that was bought was rather 5. When I go for 5 and then I press the enter, I realize I get updated. Okay, everything gets updated, including the total amount, the tax, everything. So when I increase, I realize that there's a mistake. They were told that item 8, a unit price was actually 50, not 5. So when you go for 50 and press enter, there'll be an update. Alright. The total cost is 1,22 Ghana cedis. So if you were given 1,100 Ghana cedis and you press the enter, you realize that this is the change that needs to be given to the user. That's how you create an automated invoice. Okay, using Excel. You can use Excel 2013, 2016, 2010, 2007. It would work. Okay, it would definitely work for you. So if you're facing any challenge, you can hit me up in the comment section. You can post a question in the forum. You can check out my blog, vincentechblog.com, for more information on these, or if you have any issues. Alright. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel for more wonderful videos. Cheers. Bye.